Alright, CNT120, we are working on our Chapter 3 lab on addressing. So first thing I've done on D2L, I downloaded a copy of the directions. Remember, open this and do a file, download as like PDF so you have it handy. That's what I have here. And then I also downloaded a copy of, the packet tracer file here. Once I've downloaded that, I open packet tracer and then open the Chapter 3 lab packet tracer file right here. So I have the packet tracer open and I have my lab file here ready to go. So we're going to dig into our Chapter 3 lab on addressing. Now, super quickly, we are going to look at layer 2 addressing or MAC addressing on PCs. We're then going to set and look at IP addressing at layer 4 on our PCs. We'll set a static IP and the dynamic. And then we're going to look at port number. Oh, actually, on that as well, we're going to set a static and dynamic IP6 address and work with those. Then we'll look at layer 4 port numbers. And then layer 7 we'll look at domain names. So we're going to try to look at all the addresses that the book talked about in kind of like a hands-on manner here. Alright, so first part, let's take a look at our MAC address. So the MAC address, we're going to look at the MAC address on a PC on our network. Remember, the MAC address is the address that's burnt into our network card. It identifies our computer on the network. So basically, inside of Harrisburg campus of Hack, it's going to identify that computer. That MAC address is basically local for that computer for the devices connected into that switch. That's how it'll find that computer in that network locally, if you will. So let's look at the MAC address on Philadelphia PC. So we're going to locate that, go to the desktop, open the command prompt, and use the ipconfig all command. So here, let's look for Philadelphia PC. We're going to open that guy up. We're going to go to the desktop here. We're going to open the command prompt. We're going to open the command prompt. We're going to run the ipconfig /all command. And watch the syntax. The syntax in these commands matter very much. So watch your syntax. We're going to hit the enter key, and we're going to see this is the information about the Ethernet NIC. Here's the information down here about the Bluetooth connection on this PC. We're going to focus in on the Ethernet NIC. That's the part that we are focusing in on. So with this guy, and actually I'll make him a little bit wider. Sometimes it makes the viewing here a little bit easier to see. There we go. If I look here, very first line we have is the physical address. That is the MAC address that's burnt into this NIC. It is physically burnt into that NIC, so it identifies this computer on this network. And it really is relevant here at this site. This is how the switch would find this computer as opposed to this one, by using that MAC address. So it is relevant at this network right here, this local network right here. That's where that MAC address is relevant. So there is the MAC address of that PC. And again, that is burnt into the network card. Now we also see the IP address. We'll be focusing on that in the next piece of our lab. So just kind of take note that that's there. We can actually see that. But this is the one we're focusing on here, that physical address. Now let's look at the laptop as well, and we'll try to compare, if you will. Now let's see if I can open both at the same time. You don't have to open both at the same time, but I'm going to see if I can. Here's the laptop now. We'll slide this one over here. We'll go to the command prompt again, ipconfig /all, and we'll look at the MAC address on this guy. There we go. So here's the MAC address on Philadelphia laptop. Here's the MAC address on Philadelphia PC. If I take a peek, here's the MAC address for the laptop, 0060, and then over here on the PC, 00D0, Okay, these are unique. They are unique to those individual devices. That's the address that's burnt into that network card. It identifies that computer on that local network. That's what we should be seeing. That's what we should be seeing. If I kept going to all the other devices in my network here, that's what I would see. I would see unique MAC address for each one of them. Okay, I think in our lab we're going to move on now. So I'm going to close both of those. Now let's actually look at the MAC address in some traffic that's moving through our network. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to ping between the two. I think I have you open the Philadelphia laptop and ping the Philadelphia, ping the Philadelphia PC. So I'm going to open the laptop here again, and I'm going to open a command prompt, and I'm actually going to ping over here to the Philadelphia PC. So if I hold my pointer here over the Philadelphia PC, it'll show that it has an address of 192.168.30.10. That's the address I see towards the top there. That is the address we want to ping from the laptop. So we're going to issue a ping here. Ping to 192.168.30. I'm pretty sure it was 10. 30.10, there it is, so 30.10, and I should be getting results back. And what this just did is send a little data packet from this laptop through to the switch. The switch looked up the MAC address and said, oh, it's over here, and sent it to this computer, and this computer responded back to me. That was the reply it got back, reply from. So this was successful. We have a data path to that PC. So we get a response back. Well, the way this network's set up over here, I'm going to close that. I actually have connected, this laptop is connected to a hub into the switch. This hub is repeating all the traffic that basically comes into it, and it's repeating it to the sniffer that's attached over here. The sniffer is like a protocol analyzer attached to the network. It's gathering copies of all the traffic moving through and displaying them for us to see. So we are now going to open that packet sniffer and look at the packets it has captured. So I'm going to double click on that or click on it. I'm going to go to the GUI tab. And what I see is it's actually captured some ICMP packets. That was the ping I did. Ping is part of ICMP, Internet Control Message Protocol. Ping is part of that. So these packets were the ping packets that we sent over to the other computer and got the response back. So I'm going to highlight one of those, and when I do, it shows the contents over here in the right window. So I'm going to make this larger. Excuse me. And I'm now going to look down through, and I want to look at the Ethernet header and the source and destination address. So Ethernet header should be having the MAC addresses of these computers. So here the source address 0060, the destination address 00D0. That is the two computers I just got done looking at. The source was coming from that laptop over to the destination, the Philadelphia PC. And if I take a peek, I'm going to take a peek. We'll see destination 00D0. We'll hold our pointer over this guy. I should see, there it is, over on the right side, under MAC address, that top line is the Ethernet. We see 00D0, FF15, etc., etc. That is the destination address, because this ping went from the laptop to the destination to the Philadelphia PC. So this was the ping message coming from the laptop to the PC. And there is all of those Ethernet header fields: preamble, starter frame, delimiter, destination address, source address, type field, meaning there's IP version 4 inside, etc. That was our ping message showing the destination source addresses, in this case our MAC addresses that we were looking at. Excuse me. Well, before we go any further, let's start gathering our results for the lab. So I'm going to open a notepad or a text file here, and I'll put a note in here that this is our CNT120 Chapter 3 lab. And I'm going to put in here, this is my Layer 2 MAC address, so I know that this is the results I'm putting in. I'm going to quick save this file, save as, and I'm going to point it to, I have, in my documents folder, I have a CNT120, and I have a Chapter 3 lab, so I'm going to put it there so I know where I can find it. And I'll call this my CNT120 Chapter 3 lab, something like that. And now I can be adding my results into there and saving that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather the contents of the Ethernet source field and Ethernet header destination field from this ping packet. And what I should be able to do, I should be able to highlight this and right-click copy, and I should be able to paste that into my text file. We're going to try to do that. There we go. There's my source address, and I'll come over here and I'll highlight the destination. I'm going to right-click on top of it to copy, and then I'll go to my text file and I will paste that in. There's the destination address. So there's my Layer 2. So there's my Layer 2 MAC address. In this case, we looked at it at the command prompt, but we also looked at it in our packet sniffer, which is kind of like using Wireshark, our protocol analyzer. All right, I'm going to close that out. I'm going to hold on to this text file. I'm going to save that, and I think I'm just going to leave it open so I can add to it. And before I get too much further, I'm going to quick save my packet tracer file. For me, I'm going to call it .-demo for me, but that'll be my file that lets me know this is what I'm working on. So as I go, I'll save this periodically as well so I can save my progress. Alrighty, so there is me looking at the layer 2 or MAC address for my network. When I come back in the podcast, we're going to start looking at IP version 4 addressing.